Hey, what is up, awesome people? Shady Wags here with Got Your Back Gaming, and in this video I'm going to be going over Phoebe. I've played with her quite a bit this week, and what I can say so far from my experience is in the right group, or even just with that right partner, she can be an absolute beast. Although, she is probably the most difficult character I've really spent a lot of time on so far. If we look at Phoebe's character card, she is classified as an attacker who is a brawler, assassin, and advanced, which I agree with completely. The closest character you could compare her to is Wrath. The main difference, though, between her and Wrath is she is much more durable. She has a health pool of 1,262, where Wrath comes in at 983. And you can boost her shields up to as high as 540 and even tack even more on that with equipment. This allows her to stand toe-to-toe with even the strongest characters. In most one-on-one situations, I was easily able to handle the other player. Even in some 2-on-1s, I was getting double KOs. There were some matches where I was racking up double-digit kills and I felt like I was absolutely unstoppable. I can attribute this a lot to having another player on the team at the beginning of the match that can tank well enough to allow you to get those initial kills. Once you start getting that other team's spawn timer spread out, then you're going to get a lot more one-on-ones, and Phoebe is nasty in one-on-one situations. There were several characters that gave me a lot of trouble, and those were the tankier characters like Montana and Atticus. But what she does gain in durability, she loses in speed and range, and I ran into a lot of issues here also. She does not have a stun, so if you do not kill a player during that initial battle, and they get the opportunity to run, it's relatively difficult to catch them. Let's look at her abilities. She has a passive of True Strike. When she uses her secondary attack, this propels her in the direction she is moving. This allows you to make up distance on a retreating player, or can be used as a method to make distance when you're attempting to get away. Her primary attack is multiple melee attacks with her rapiers. Skill 1, she has Phase Gate. After activating the skill, she casts an area down onto the ground, and then after hitting the right trigger, she teleports to the middle of that area, the smaller glowing circle in the middle. And any enemies that are in the radius of the outer circle will be hit with 142 damage. I see a lot of people using this as a method of escape, and that's not the intended method of use for this ability. It is a damage and debuff field. There are many times when just by phasing onto another player's location, I was able to get the KO just from the damage inflicted from Phase Gate. This is the ability that makes her so complicated to use, because Battleborn moves so fast, and in that split second you port from one area to the other, things can change drastically. You could be aiming for another player, and by the time you port in, they're somewhere else completely, or you end up porting into the middle of 3 players. The perfect phase is when you lock onto your target, phase behind them, quickly turn around, and you're directly behind them. But that's not how it happens most of the time. And to be completely honest with you, it's real easy to lose your bearings. And a lot of the times I was killed by using this were the times I ported in, lost my bearings, and by the time I got them back, it was just too late. Her second ability is Blade Rush, which fires all her rapiers in a ranged attack. And her ultimate ability is Blade Cascade, which is an area effect damage ability which deals 179 damage to any enemies in that area over 5 seconds. For this build, I've been using equipment that increases maximum health, her attack speed, and her shield strength. For her Helix at level 1, I've been taking Preparation, which silences the enemy if they're struck by the last blade in that Blade Rush. I've found it's pretty inconsistent hitting other players at long range with this, so I use this when I'm right up in somebody's face. I've tried using Aggressive Advance, which gives you a 30% speed boost for 3 seconds after exiting phase, but I didn't think it was that much of a speed boost. At level 2, I take phase distortion, so any players in that phase field when you port in will be slowed for 6 seconds. This is really your only way of keeping those quicker players from getting away from you. You can use this on the run, but it is difficult to get that field right on top of them as you're both moving at full speed. At 3, I seem to get the most bang for the buck out of shield stabilizers, increasing her shield up to 540 and increasing that recharge rate. If you equip her with a piece of equipment that also increases shield strength, that's going to allow you to stand in there longer, and plenty of times that was the difference between me getting killed or getting KO'd. At 4, I take Redopio to decrease the cooldown on Blade Rush. At 5, take Posada Soto. You can throw that true strike out there real fast when you're up in somebody's face, and it's going to give you 30% damage reduction for 3 seconds. At 6, I'm taking Contingency Plan. So when her shields break, it instantly resets Phase Gate. When you port in at full shields, it's going to hit for that initial 146 damage. As soon as those shields break, I'm going to phase again, right on top of myself, hitting 146 additional damage in that same area again. If you do not have Contingency Plan, then go ahead and take Phase Gate version 2 for the Phase Gate cooldown. At 7, I take Flurry, which is 20% more attack speed, instead of the 15% additional damage caused by a skill. My reasoning on this is when you look at those skills, really the only one this is affecting is Phase Gate. Blade Rush does not do that much damage anyways. On Phase Gate, you're going to get an extra 22 points of damage, where by taking the 20% attack speed, it's going to be consistent damage adding up over time. If you want to go for more of a skill damage build, this would be the spot to change it up, taking Core Overload and then adding in some skill damage equipment. Because at 8, you're going to want to take Phase Stability, which is going to increase the damage of Phase Gate by 15% more. I have tried using Scientific Method here, and again, this is one of those where I don't think the range is beneficial enough to give up that damage. At 9, I'm taking Close Quarters Training. Like I said before in the beginning, that I'm always using that Blade Rush right up close. So that's going to give me up to an extra 100% damage on Blade Rush. Don't have that, I would go with the Conduit. And finally at 10, I'm taking Sword Storm, which is increasing the radius of Blade Cascade by 50%. So putting this all together, my strategy is going to be I phase to my target. Hopefully they are in that phase field, getting hit for the phase damage and the slow. I quickly turn it around, locate my target and engage them, get in close, fire off my Blade Rush to silence them, all while using my melee attacks. If I have Blade Cascade ready, I can go ahead and drop that, and then when my shield breaks, I can also phase on top of them again for more damage. Or, at this point, if it's a bad situation, I can then use that phase to attempt a getaway. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, I really would appreciate it if you give me a thumbs up. Thanks for watching, and guys, have a good one. I'll talk to you later.
Power play. Only 2 hostiles remain.
No.
Collector A lost.